Mr. Thompson, you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Fresneda, to court to prove that you, not he, fathered Miss Jasmine Robinson. You've never met Ms. Robinson, but say today you'll prove she's yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Fresneda, you were married to Ms. Robinson's mother and claim today's DNA test results will confirm that you are the biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Before we start the case, Ron, can you please escort Ms. Robinson into the courtroom?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please, thank you.
Have you stand right here.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes, Your Honor.
why did you finally decide to reach out to Ms. Robinson?
Me and her mother had relations while Miss Fresneda was away. When Miss Fresneda came back into the picture, I stopped seeing Sonia, and she was pregnant. When the child was born, the family members came to me stating, that she looks like me and things of that nature. And Sonia said no, she knows who she got pregnant by.
So, Ms. Robinson, have you ever, in your 29 years of life, heard that some other man could be your father besides Mr. Fresneda?
Never, Your Honor. I would have never suspected that my dad, that I know as my dad, to not be my dad because he never treated me no different. So I would have never suspected.
Now, he says he heard things from your family members. You've never heard those murmurings, whispers through the grapevine?
Nobody never told me anything. They just left me in the dark. Nobody said nothing to me about it.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain to me, what made you so certain as to why you would just reach out now after all of these years? She's 29 years old now.
Well, it's sorry to say, but, I got a phone call saying that she had passed away. And I was like,
are you speaking of Jasmine's mother, Ms.
Yes,
Robinson's mother?
Yes, and it was her wishes to say that it was Mr. Fresneda's baby. They raised her, but I'm here today to prove that I am the father. In my heart, she's my daughter.
So, Ms. Robinson, how did you find out Mr. Thompson was even looking for you?
Okay, in June 2010, he had messaged me on Facebook, the first message, and was like, hey, tell your mom that I said hi. But I just brushed it off. I'm like, my mom has her own Facebook page. It's just somebody that she knows. So I just left it alone. Didn't say anything about it. And then 5 years later, in 2015, he had reached out to me again. I have a copy of the Facebook message.
I'd like to see that. Ron, can you please pass me the evidence? Thank you. This is a Facebook message?
Yeah, a Facebook message that he sent me saying, like, hi, do you know who I am? And I had said no. And then that's when he had started explaining the situation of how he's supposed to be my dad and not George. And it was a big secret. And, like, everybody knew, but nobody said anything about it.
Sounds very good. I'm a friend of your mother's. Before you were born, ask your Auntie Felicia about it. Say that I'm your father and not Georgie. It was a big secret, but I thought she would have told you before she passed. I was a very good friend of your mother's. Me and your uncle were very close as well. You can ask him about it. Did you send this message to
Yes, I did.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes, I did.
Over Facebook?
Yes, I did. That's the only way I could get in touch with her.
And so you get this message, and what are you thinking, Ms. Robinson?
Like, I was like, yeah, right. Like, that's all I could think. Like, this is crazy. Like, who was this guy telling me that he's my dad? I thought it was a joke at first, kind of. And so I had called my Aunt Felicia, and I said, Auntie Felicia, this guy named Lladnar Thompson's messaging me on Facebook saying that he's my dad and not my dad. And then she was like, what's his name? And I had said Lladnar Thompson, and she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh my God, what? And then she started explaining to me, like, oh, yeah, he was with your mom while your dad was away. And when you was born, he was coming around saying that you was his child, but your mom was so adamant and kept denying it and kept saying no, that the family just left it alone. And then she was like, but as you started getting older, you starting to look like him. I feel like that I look like my mother and my grandmother.
And so at this point, do you say something to the man you think is your father,
Yes.
Mr. Fresneda? You ask him?
Yes. I had told him, I said, Dad, there's this guy named Lladnar Thompson that had reached out to me on Facebook and saying that he's my dad. And my dad was like, what's his name again? And then I said Lladnar Thompson. And then he had said kind of the same story that my Aunt Felicia told me. He said that years ago, he had came around saying that he was my dad, but my mom was saying no, and he loved my mom so much and just loved me so much that he just always said I was his daughter.
So, Mr. Thompson, did you go searching for her?
Well, you know, Providence, Rhode Island is a small town, so, you know, there was times when, you know, I would see her with her mother walking down the street. I would say hi to Sonia and then look at the baby. I'm looking at the baby being adamant in my heart that she's mine, but at the same time, the mom said that it was Mr. Fresneda's, so we left it alone.
I feel like that's when it really should have came out. Like, you see me and you feel like if you feel in your heart so bad that I'm your daughter.
Yes, and I'm so sorry for that. But, you know, their relationship was happy, and at the time when she was conceived, I wasn't sure myself, you know? So it took me a minute to get to where I'm at today. And the reason why I'm here today is because I can't live with it no more.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. All right, so Mr. Fresneda, you had heard of Mr. Thompson.
Yes, we know each other.
You knew who he was.
Yes.
You were fully aware.
Of course.
Okay, and so what was the story as you understood it?
I asked her mother, and like he says, on more than one occasion, and she always said to me that Jasmine was my firstborn, and that was good enough for me, Your Honor. We went on and had 4 more children after that, and they all belong to me, okay? Now, my point in here, the point I'm trying to make in here, Your Honor, that I wish that he would have addressed me before he sent her a Facebook or whatever. I know he couldn't be able to find me because we had no contact with each other. He lives in one town and I live in another.
I handle these situations daily, and I see many families. You are not the first family that's come into this courtroom that share a story like this, where there was a decision made at a certain time that she probably thought was best for her child. You all were in a relationship, you accepted the child, there probably was a possibility the child could be yours as well, and so you know what, we're gonna go with this, and we're gonna be a family, and we're gonna be all right.
That's what we did.
And that's what you did. And yet, as part of this whole scenario, the truth is somewhere woven in that no one has fully grasped, because there's also a part of this that's left out, that Mr. Thompson was there as well.
And I feel hurt and I feel betrayed. Like, nobody told me nothing. And my family members that did know about it never stepped up about it, even after my mom passed away. I feel like, would I have to be on my deathbed to find out, like, if he's not my dad? Like, that's not fair to me.
You know, I have compassion for you because I've lost my mother as well, and I know what it feels like to be a young woman in the world without your mother. It's difficult. That one person in the world where you can ask any question, you know without a shadow of the doubt they're gonna back you up. You can't ask her these important questions, and that's hard. Now, earlier in the case, you mentioned your Aunt Felicia. Your Aunt Felicia is your mother's sister.
Yes.
You said you were trying to get answers from her.
Yes.
Now, she's here in court to testify. Ron, could you please go get her for me? And I want to try to help you get the answers you so desperately need and deserve. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
We are here, of course, discussing the paternity as it relates to Jasmine Robinson, which is your niece.
Yes.
You are her late mother's sister.
Yes.
Who did your late sister name as the father?
Mr. Fresneda.
So Mr. Fresneda,
Vanessa.
Mr. Fresneda
Yes.
was always the father that her late mother named. This is her dad.
Absolutely.
This is what you knew.
Absolutely.
Did she ever mention to you that Mr. Thompson could potentially be Ms. Robinson's father?
She always denied it. If we brought it to her attention, she always said that Lladnar was not Jasmine's father.
So why were you bringing it to her attention?
Because as Jasmine was growing up, I, as the aunt, started seeing a little difference in the children.
You did.
I did. But because Sonia always was very, very at point, she would get angry if you brought it up. And if you
And
say,
so you remember when she dated Mr. Thompson.
oh yes,
So you remember that.
yes.
And so therefore, when the children were born, because you said she had subsequent children, Mr. Fresneda already testified that they had more children after.
Exactly.
What you're saying, as all the children began to age, you felt like Ms. Robinson looked different from the other children.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so you attributed that to the fact that Mr. Thompson could potentially be her biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you addressed your sister, she maintained that Mr. Fresneda was her child's biological father, and there was no question in her mind.
Absolutely.
And so you let it go.
Yes.
And so let me ask you this. When your niece reached out to you and said Mr. Thompson had contacted her, what did you think?
When she called me and she asked me, Auntie, who's this man got in contact with me on Facebook? His name is Lladnar. I said, who? I was kind of tongue-tied because everything that my sister always said just came right to my head. So I just said that I kind of thought that, you know, your mother always told me that your father was your father. But then as I look at all the rest of my nieces and I look at Lladnar, I see Lladnar.
You do. When you look at your niece.
I see Lladnar. I look at I even been on Facebook and I looked at his other children and I can see a resemblance with the other children.
She has 5 kids. I have 12 grandbabies. Who's to say her kids don't hook up with my grandbabies?
And so you have a real concern because your family, the family you've made, you want her to be able to understand whether or not her children are related to yours.
And if she is my child, I want to build a relationship with her, you know, and her kids.
And
all
this
my
is the
kids,
first time you've ever met in person, truly
yes,
met.
First time I ever laid eyes on her.
How do you feel as you look at her?
I feel hurt. I also feel happy. You know, I respect Georgie. You know, we know each other. We're not strangers. You know, but I think it just had to come out. You know, and that's why we're here today.
Yes, Ms. Robinson, what would you like?
I honestly feel like if my mom didn't pass away, that this wouldn't have came out. I honestly feel like if my mom was here today, I wouldn't even know of him.
When I first talked to her, what I was trying to do is get to talk to her mom first before I relayed some news like that and laid it on her lap, because that's a lot to take in.
You say you have other children. Have you told them about Ms. Robinson?
Yes, they're friends on Facebook. She went to school with one of them and she worked with one.
And yeah, that's what's crazy is I know them. I know them from being around them. And one of the sisters, I worked with her. We worked together.
And so you were working with this young woman without knowing that she potentially could be your sister.
Yes. We worked together at the hospital for a long time. And I wouldn't even.
Did they know at the time?
They didn't.
When they worked together, did your child know that she potentially could be?
No, they didn't know nothing at the time. Once I reached out to her, I called all my children and told them that there's a possibility that they have a sister. They all accepted her as their sister.
And Ms. Robinson, I can see from your face you still have doubts.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to know.
You walked in today convinced that Mr. Fresneda was your biological father because that's what you were told. And that's what you grew up understanding. As you listen to the testimony today of Mr. Thompson, of your own aunt, your mother's sister, does this in any way change your perspective?
Yeah, because now I don't know. I'm confused.
I can contest that we're all confused. You know, we don't know. And that's why we're here today, to find out the truth.
To me, she's my child, and she's always gonna be my child.
Ron, the envelope, please.
There you go, Your Honor.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Thompson v. Robinson Fresneda, pertaining to whether Mr. Thompson or Mr. Fresneda is the father of 29-year-old Jasmine Robinson. It has been determined by this court the biological father is Mr. Thompson. You are her father.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
You're all right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't be crying. It's good. You got this. Don't worry about it. That's my heart. That's my number one. I understand and I respect your decision and your petition and all that paper that you got in front of you. But to me, it doesn't mean nothing.
And when I heard about it, I had told my dad, I said, even if you looked at me every day of your life and knew in the back of your head that I wasn't your daughter, I just wanted to say thank you for loving me.
Okay.
Mr. Hollins, you are demanding a DNA test today because you say you are not the father of Ms. Anderson's 17-month-old daughter, Chloe.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
claim to be paying support for a child. It's not yours.
Yes, Your
Ms.
Honor.
Anderson, you say Mr. Hollins need to step up and take responsibility for his actions and his child.
Yes, Your Honor.
So my first question would be to you, Mr. Hollins. Now, how do you end up paying child support for a child that you say is definitely not yours?
I failed to appear to court because I didn't want to take a DNA test and had to pay for it all by myself.
I offered to go half with Mr. Hollins, but he wanted me to pay the whole thing. And he never went to court to take the DNA test. 4 times. He failed to appear 4 times.
Your Honor, that's
Four
not right.
times you failed to appear?
No, what happened was my mother had two brain aneurysms. That's the reason why I failed to appear. You see what I'm saying?
Your Honor, the first time he failed to appear, he said he was out of town. The second time, he said he overslept. The third time, his mom was in the hospital. And the fourth time, he overslept and his mom was in the hospital. And I talked to him the day before court, and he said that he was coming.
Why
He never
was it
came.
important for you to show up for this DNA test? I mean, you want to know, don't you?
Yes, but it was important, but my mom went through that. I put everything to the side. I quit my job and everything, you know?
All right, now, have you been paying this support?
Yeah, I've been paying child support for her child, and I don't even know it's
Let me
mine.
see that, sir. Thank you, Jerome.
Yep.
So she'll pay child support in the amount of $62 monthly for one child.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you have to help pay health care expenses. So the bottom line is you were ordered to pay child support and you've been paying it.
Yes, ma'am.
No, Your Honor. I received $100 from Mr. Hollins.
No, she lying. I didn't pay $400. They take money out my check.
Take
No.
me back in this relationship. So were you boyfriend and girlfriend? What is?
At one point in time, we was in a relationship. I liked her. You feel me? I was feeling her.
Was she your girlfriend?
Yeah, she was my
Yes,
girlfriend.
Your Honor, we were in a relationship until another young woman wrote me on Facebook and told me that she was pregnant by Mr. Hollins.
But it's...
Okay, so you were boyfriend and girlfriend.
We were boyfriend and girlfriend.
And you got a message on Facebook.
Yes.
Somebody told you, I'm having a child by Mr. Hollins.
Yes, that she was pregnant by Mr. Hollins and that her and Mr. Hollins was in a relationship. I then called Mr. Hollins and I asked Mr. Hollins about it. He thought it was funny. We were on the three-way with a girl. He didn't know that I was on the phone. And he basically said if he couldn't have both of us, he didn't want neither of us.
That is not how it went.
He thought it was all a joke, as if, I wasn't gonna take it serious.
So you continue the relationship?
Yeah, we continued the relationship. I had a friend who was going out of town. He said, could I go with him and his mother and his daughter? I was telling Mr. Hollins, I wanted his approval. He basically gave me an ultimatum saying that if I went, we were over. I don't take ultimatums very lightly, so I went anyway.
Yana, you in a relationship with me. How you gonna go out of town with a guy that you ain't even told me about? I just supposed to assume and say,
Your Honor, he knew about this guy because
Who is this guy?
It was literally a friend, nothing more than a friendship. But Mr. Hollins, he said, if you go, then we're done.
You don't even supposed to be going out of town with him from the beginning. You in a relationship.
I'd like to hear about your doubts.
The reason,
Why are you doubtful?
Because I told her to be honest with me and she didn't.
I thought me and Mr. Hollins was better than this. When we got together, we were like best friends almost. The things that has happened since she was born, stuff that's been said, I never thought that me and Mr. Hollins would be like this today.
Yana,
so
we was cool. We was in a relationship. Everything was good. when she chose to do the wrong thing. You see what I'm saying? We had already talked. I said, no, I
Okay.
don't want you to go.
Your Honor, I went out of town.
must have didn't care that much, you know?
I dealt with the fact that the girl
Trying to-
told me that she was pregnant. Why couldn't he deal with the fact that I made a mistake? I dealt with the fact that he made a mistake.
I accept your mistake to a
No,
to a
because
certain
you're
extent.
saying
To a
that
certain
we were
extent.
done.
Listen, when you came back, I told you, I don't think I'm gonna pay for this. We might need to go half. I knew then. Something ain't right.
All right, moving on. Mr. Hollins, how do you find out Ms. Anderson's pregnant?
Facebook, online. Facebook tell a lot of stuff. I found out on Facebook that she had a baby.
That she had a baby or that
Yeah.
she was pregnant?
She had a baby, not pregnant. A pregnancy I didn't never know about.
Wait a minute,
See
so
what I'm saying?
from the point she went out of town with the friend until she
she
actually
came
gave
back-
birth to the child, you had no idea she was even pregnant?
No idea.
Your Honor, he
How-
had
how
no,
is that- how
he
is
had
that
no
the
idea
case?
because I had no idea I was pregnant until the day I had her.
You what?
I did not know I was pregnant until
This
the
what
day
I'm
I
going
had her.
through,
I went to the emergency due to back pain. When I got in the emergency, the lady said you have like a lot of fluid around your stomach. So I said, get it out. And she basically
Ghana.
said, are you pregnant? I said no. She then did an ultrasound on my stomach.
You go through all this, but I don't find out.
So no idea
Yeah.
you were pregnant until the day you gave birth. Not a clue.
No idea. She didn't kick, move. I gained no weight, none of that. It was no idea until the day I had her. I wrote Mr. Hollins on Facebook. Mr. Hollins never responded. I then talked to my best friend and I told her that I wanted to tell him about Chloe. So she called Mr. Hollins. We put Mr. Hollins on a three-way and I told him about the baby and I asked him did he want a DNA test.
Yeah.
Because me and Mr. Hollins had not seen each other in over 6 months.
And so were there any other men you were intimate with during the time you were also intimate with Mr. Hollins? Anybody else?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. And that was sex without protection or with protection?
Without protection, Your Honor.
And the name of that man is?
Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams. And Mr. Williams is here in our courtroom today.
Yes, Your Honor.
What made you believe that Mr. Williams could also be the father?
I went on the internet and I found a conception calendar and I put in when did I get pregnant because I never was given a date of when I conceived. So I put in when did I get pregnant. They asked for her birthday. When they asked for her birthday, it then took me back to Khalil when I had sex with Khalil.
I have a conception calendar right here. Let me get these dates. The date you were intimate with the other man is what?
March the 30th.
March the 30th. Now your due date was December 4th, 2013. So that was the day they pinpointed. When was your daughter actually born?
December the 7th.
If you go back to your dates of intimacy, you were also intimate with Mr. Williams as well.
Yes, and Mr. Hollins.
And Mr. Hollins.
Yes.
Playing both of us.
And so based on the calculator,
Both of us would sound like.
it's pointing to Mr. Williams, not Mr. Hollins.
I was intimate with Mr. Hollins maybe like a day or two before I was intimate with Mr. Williams.
See what I'm saying?
Oh, well, we don't need no calculator for that. But now Mr. Hollins is the one that's actually paying the child support.
At the time, Your Honor, I did think Mr. Hollins was the father.
Yeah.
Jerome, I want to meet Mr. Williams. Can you please escort him in?
Sure.
Yana,
Yes, sir.
how can I be the daddy and you then had sex with somebody else 2 days after me?
you come in with
That
me.
means
Come in.
clearly you don't know who the daddy is. How you just gonna falsely blame me?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They
But
taking
Your
my
Honor,
money.
this
everything.
situation
You know what I'm
could have
saying?
been dealt
But
with
you the
months
honest
ago
truth
if
is you don't
Mr.
know.
Hollins would have showed up for the DNA
You see what I'm
test.
saying?
Listen, Mr. Hollins, I understand your concern. I do. But Ms. Anderson has a point as well. You had 4 times to show up to do the DNA test, and you failed to appear. You can't really argue about a problem you created for yourself.
I created.
Mr. Williams, thank you for being here today. We are here, of course, talking about the paternity as it relates to baby Chloe. Ms. Anderson has informed the court that she was intimate with you around the same time she was intimate with Mr. Hollins within the same week. You remember being intimate with Ms. Anderson, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And it was unprotected?
Yeah.
All right. When did you find out that you could be the father?
Recently, this year after my birthday, after I had turned 18, then she had finally told me.
See, here we go.
This year?
Yeah, this year.
So you weren't involved in the pregnancy, or she didn't even know she was
I
pregnant?
didn't even know she was pregnant either.
Did nobody know?
I ain't heard nothing.
She didn't.
I didn't know.
But I get the blame.
How can I tell you something
ain't
that I
gonna
don't know? If you would have took the DNA testing, you would have found out over a year
listen,
ago.
You had already made up your mind in your head that I was the daddy. Because you didn't tell me about him. Even being in the picture.
So, Mr. Hollins,
what
you're
I'm
saying she had never told you about Mr. Williams?
Never. I'm hearing this now. All this is new. Didn't know him. Didn't know he exists. Not in this.
Mr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
When you found out there was a baby that could potentially be yours, how did you handle that?
I kind of thought about it for me. I was like, no, I don't think there's no way. And then I was like, I don't know, maybe so. I was kind of mad though, because she waited so long after to tell me. Once I found out, I was like, I don't know. I was kind of mad.
Your Honor, I waited so long to tell Mr. Williams because I thought that she was Mr. Hollins. And it never dawned on me that Mr. Williams was a possibility until that day. And when I went back and I did the date, that's when Mr. Williams.
But you
became a
say you slept with them within 1 or 2 days.
Yes.
How did you ever think that you could
Because
pinpoint which man
That's the answer
it was?
I'm looking for. How did you even know?
No, I'm serious. In your mind, how did you think you could pinpoint it with 1 or 2 days?
Because I was in a relationship with Mr. Hollins. We were always together. Like, Mr. Williams never dawned on me until that day.
Ms. Anderson, I have to ask you, did you ever think, once you realized Mr. Williams was also a possibility, did you ever say, let me call the court back and let them know there's another potential father? Because if, in fact, they had called Mr. Williams in for a DNA test, he might have shown up, and that could have helped you arrive at your conclusion.
Mr. Williams didn't become a possibility to me until maybe a month ago.
All right. Have either of you been there for the child? She's 17 months old. Does anyone spend time with her? I know Mr. Hollins is ordered to pay child support.
No.
I said the baby.
You have a
4 times.
relationship with her?
He's
I said the
seen
4
her
times,
4
that's
times,
it.
and that's because I brought her to him 3 of those times.
Listen, you went out of town, you pop up, you have a baby. What else new? It's subject not to be mine. And now look, it's subject not to be mine.
And now,
You see what I'm saying?
and now, right, you find out here today about Mr. Williams.
Could have told me this months ago.
This is what drives me crazy, is to see young people, first of all, y'all too young to be in grown adult situations like this. You can't handle, you don't even know how to handle a simple boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, much less bring a baby into it.
Yeah.
This is, you know, children have to know,
Your Honor.
they deserve to know, and they have the right to know who their father
She
is.
deserves to know who her father is, and that's why I'm here today. I grew up without a father, so I know how it feels, and I wouldn't want her to go through the same thing.
At this point in her life, at 17 months old, she doesn't know anyone as daddy.
Right. Yes.
Your Honor, I'm gonna be truthful. I don't even know how to be a father. I'm honestly not even, I'm still taking care of myself. You see what I'm saying? I don't even know how to be a father. My father wasn't there. You see what I'm saying? But that's not to blame nobody. You see what I'm saying? I just don't know how to be one. I'm 23. If you would have walked me through this like how you was trying to walk through it, we could have got somewhere. But you wanted me to just
Okay, I'm
pay for
21
something
and I had to grow up
get
and be a
diapers
mother,
for something
so-
that I don't even know it's mine. So
I
I'm
had to
looking
grow
like,
up, Your Honor, and be a
what's
mother,
my first
so why
step?
can't he grow up? If he
Well, I'll
would've
tell
took
you
the
what, the
test,
reason
then
why
would.
he didn't immediately choose to be a father right off the bat is because he felt like he had doubts, and now those doubts have been substantiated here
But
in this courtroom.
he didn't find out about Mr. Williams until recently, so therefore he didn't make an effort at all, period. No
But I
effort
have
was
faith
made.
in you.
But
no
listen,
effort.
ultimately, the person that's suffering is Chloe.
Yes.
You all are running around here having sex like it's an extracurricular activity, like you gonna go to the movies, you gonna go do this. I'm not laughing, Mr. Williams.
I know. You're right. You're right.
Producing lifelong consequences in the form of a beautiful, innocent human being. Does she even say dad? Who's she gonna say it to?
She say dad, but she
To the air?
to nobody.
That's a shame. Mr. Williams, now, will you step up to be Chloe's father if in fact it's determined you are the biological father?
I don't got a problem with that. She ain't gonna have to
How
worry
about you,
nothing.
Mr. Hollins?
I step up, but how far? I don't know how to change a diaper. I don't know what to do when
Those
she crying.
are
You know
all
what I'm saying?
things you can learn, and you will learn if one of you, either of you, turn out to be the biological father. That's something that I will help you with. All right? It's time for the results. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Hollins, Williams v. Anderson, when it comes to 17-month-old Chloe Anderson, it has been determined by this court. In the case of Hollins, Williams v. Anderson, as to whether Mr. Hollins or Mr. Williams is this child's biological father, it has been determined by this court that Mr. Williams, you are not the father. Mr. Hollins, you are her father.
Thank you.
I just feel like if she would have kept it 100 with me from the beginning and told me everything, you know, I could have been there. I could at least help. I ain't that type of person. I'm gonna have to take it day by day, step by step, because I don't even know what to do first, you know?
I feel your concern, and I appreciate your honesty that you don't know how to be a father and you don't know what to do first, but I will fill you in on a secret, and Jerome can attest to this. No matter how old you are, there's a part of becoming a parent where you're just not ready. You don't know what to do sometimes.
Yes.
But out of love for your child, you learn. And the smartest thing you said today is, I guess I'll take it day by day. And that's what you do. You just show up day after day. Mr. Page, you claim your ex-fiancée and the mother of your 3-year-old son cheated on you and then took your son to another state to marry the man she cheated with. Now you say Miss Sutton also has a 2-year-old daughter whom she claims is yours, even though her husband has been raising her as his own. You have petitioned the court for a DNA test to determine whether or not the child in question is in fact your daughter. Now, Miss Sutton,
Yes, Your
you
Honor.
admit to having sex with both men around the same time and
Yes, I
are
do.
unsure
Yes.
if your ex-fiance or your current husband is the father of your 2-year-old daughter.
Yes.
You are seeking a definitive answer when today's DNA results are revealed, so you and your husband can rebuild trust in your relationship.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Page, why did you and your ex-fiance break up?
You would never believe what happened. My ex-fiancée, Alicia, cheated on me.
I sure
and
did.
moved to another state with my son. And then,
So wait, back me
Yes.
up. Back
Can I
up for a
start?
second, Mr. Page.
Can I start?
You're together.
we was together, Your Honor.
You're engaged.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you found out she was cheating.
Yes.
Tell
she
me
started
about
like this.
this.
She said her girlfriend have a question for me. And I said, what kind of question? She said, she cheated on a man. And I said, wow. She said, what would you do if you was in our shoes? I said, I would leave her. And then she started crying, Your Honor. And I said, please tell me it's not true. She said, yes, it is. I went to the room. When I went to my room, and I bust out crying because I loved her so much with all my heart.
But before that, you had no
didn't have
inclination
no
that she
idea.
may be cheating?
Yes, Your Honor, because I loved her so much. I would 10-hour day, 10-hour shift a day to take
my
care and
God.
support my family, my household, everything, Your Honor.
Okay.
And that's what I get out of a cheater.
Okay, yeah, I was a cheater, but let's start from the beginning. That's
Let
not...
me hear from you from the
Okay,
beginning, Miss Sutton.
first of all, we have a 3-year-old son, and yes, he was there at the birth of my son. But the reason why I cheated, because you was never home. You want to do what you want to do, smoking, drinking. If I'm hearing you out doing all these things, why I can't go do Y'all can take that picture down, because that's not a happy family no more. That was the beginning.
You're right. It's not
that was
a
the
happy family.
beginning
You're right.
of my 3-year-old son when he was doing what he had to do.
I come home 10-hour shift, Your Honor.
It's not about what you came home. Let me
She
take
never
off my
got up,
shoes.
Your Honor. She never got up in the middle of the night.
You gotta take your shoes off?
Yeah, I gotta take my shoes. I don't want to throw it at him, so I'm
get
gonna take them
comfortable.
off
Is
and
that
slide
gonna help
them
you
to
tell the truth?
Yes.
She never
Okay,
got
Miss
up,
Sutton,
Your Honor.
you're in a relationship with Mr. Page. You're engaged. Things are going along, but you're not happy.
Yes.
He's working,
Happy at first.
and you start getting information that suggests that he's
Yes.
out doing some
Even
things
though
he
I'm
shouldn't
not
be
just
doing.
gonna believe girls or what they say, but your own male friends are telling me this.
Okay.
That you're hanging out with.
Yes, I did hang out, Your Honor.
What did they tell you?
Oh
what
my
did they
God,
tell
man.
you specifically?
Okay, your fiance is my homeboy or whatever, but I don't like the way what he doing. He's in other girls' face and all that stuff. I
Are you
said, okay,
serious?
you can be in other females' face, but what is he doing with these females? Oh, you don't even want me to tell you.
That's
how
Your
they
Honor.
go. You don't even
the only
want me to
thing I
tell
used to
you.
do-
If your homeboy is saying you don't even want me to tell, that means you sleeping with her. You sitting up here acting like I was such
And
a
you
hoe and I
confronted
cheated.
him about this?
She never confirmed with that,
Yes.
Your Honor. She would always say, I'm tired. Yes, you're right. You're tired by sleeping around. And then I told her one day.
Sleeping around with one person.
Yes, it don't
But
matter
how many people you sleeping around with?
Zero.
Mr. Page, were you sleeping around at that time?
No, Your Honor.
Of course
never
he gonna
slept.
tell you that. Wow.
I don't believe.
But a girl
I
just
don't
never
believe
popped up pregnant, but I'm
cheating.
a hoe because I popped up pregnant. Wow.
You can't turn a hoe to a housewife.
You
That's
sure
it.
can't.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
Let's
That's it.
watch
Thank you.
our
That's why I
language.
made you my wife.
Thank you.
Let's watch our language
I'm sorry,
in the
Your Honor.
courtroom. All right. You never cheated when you
I
all were
never
engaged.
cheated, Your Honor.
Oh
Let
my
me-
God.
So
Okay.
what you did, well, you worked, you came home, you
I-
cooked, you said you cleaned.
I clean every time. I show my son in bed.
Okay.
After my son in bed, I'm an unhappy person. So now I just.
Okay, so that
I'm
gives
an
you a reason
unhappy
to cheat.
person.
If you
no,
unhappy?
I went out and drank late
Okay,
night. I went
okay.
out and drank with
So
my
you were
son.
out hanging out,
Yes,
and
Your
you were
Honor.
drinking, but you weren't cheating.
Yes,
Now,
never cheated.
Miss Sutton, when you heard was that he was out sleeping around.
I didn't believe it at first because I want to find out on my own. I'm not just
So
finna
what did
believe
you
no
do?
females. Okay, I waited it out.
Okay.
I waited out, and we kept building the relationship. We both knew we wasn't unhappy. So I was in nursing school. I got tired of hearing that. I found somebody else who is with my husband now. That's who I cheated with, the only person. So that's the reason why I did what I did.
I told Mike, Your Honor, when I
Oh
told
my God.
Mike.
Yes,
Your Honor,
hold on,
I
hold
told
on,
Mike.
I do
second.
agree with him at first. I made up this lie saying my friend want to know this question because I was
told-
scared at
Your
first.
Honor, I told Mike, when I told Mike,
I do
right?
believe she said Miss Sutton is talking right now.
But you're not telling the truth. If you're going to
I'm
tell the truth,
talking,
tell the
though.
truth, all the truth.
I'm talking. Like I said, I do believe he was.
Seems to me you all know how to run this courtroom all by yourself. It's a shame you don't know how to work out your problems by
Your Honor,
yourself.
let me tell you,
Because he's not a good
Your Honor,
father.
I'm not a good father.
Why would you want to
It's a
know?
shame.
If I'm
Oh
not
my
a good
God.
father, I've done everything. I told Mike, I'm trying to get my heart
Wow.
free, Your Honor.
You're speaking
Oh, my
about
God.
Mr. Cooper.
Yes, I spoke about Mr. Cooper. I told Mr. Cooper up, and I said, Mr. Cooper, how you doing? This is Pierre. You don't know who I am. I'm calling you for a reason. My fiancée, Lisa Sutton, he started saying right there, he said, I'm sorry. That should never happen. I said, did you sleep with Alicia? He said, yes, I did.
Okay.
At that time, my one tear dropped in my eyes.
Just one.
One tear
Oh,
just
my
dropped.
God.
I promise you. A tear dropped in my eyes.
feel
My
this.
heart felt like it was upon my hand. That's how I know that the love I have for her
Really?
was over. I should not hear from another man what you done to my ex-fiancée.
Now, I want to get to this point where you two are in this relationship and you find out that you're pregnant, Miss
Yes.
Sutton. Now, take me there.
I found out I was pregnant. Yes, I was scared. I didn't want to tell him the truth. When I told Micah I was pregnant, I was like, okay, it's either gonna be you or Pierre, of course. But I want to work it out with my fiance because at the time, he didn't know I cheated until I told him. So me and Pierre was on good terms. So that's when Michael stepped back. But that's when Pierre started acting stupid. So he was like, I ain't gonna do nothing for you and the baby. So I left. Me and my son packed up. Me being pregnant, I moved back to Georgia with my mom.
Miss Sutton, how do you think he would feel if he actually called Mr. Cooper, the guy you were cheating with, on the phone, talked to him? It was confirmed
I
that
understand,
you
yes.
were sleeping with him. So do you understand where his hurt comes from?
Okay, I will hurt too, but yes, I do understand where it's coming from.
Do you feel badly at all that
Yes,
you
I
were
do.
engaged
because
to
he
him.
he was a good person. He was doing what he had to do.
And
But
I'm still a good
like
man.
like I said, I don't know that. I'm not with you now.
Thank
so we're
God.
not talking about still a good man. I don't know. So we're talking about now. You can't just say still a good man. You're not
I am a
now.
good man. You two
Because
deserve each other.
We do.
How can you?
But he's been taking care of your son for 3 years that you haven't seen.
Your Honor, I would love to be in this
Since he
picture
was
of my
9
son.
months.
I have a picture for you to see.
You haven't seen
and what
since
I
he
say,
was 9 months. Thank you.
You're
He's
right.
3.
You're right.
But you went to
I have a-
Haiti
can you see-
twice instead of coming seeing your child. But
The
you
way
worrying
you
about
mentioned-
a 2-year-old.
I got
How you
two-
gonna worry about her and
I
you
got-
can't?
What are you
handle a
holding,
3-year-old?
Mr. Page?
I got a picture where
That's
she posted on Facebook. When I asked her, I said, I'm taking care of my son. You know, money come every week. I
Wow,
take care.
money. He was providing the money. He was there.
Your man provided money with what
He
job?
was there.
All right, so these
He was
are
there.
pictures
Picture
that
of-
Miss Sutton, you posted of Mr. Page's son with the guy you cheated on him with.
Yes, she did.
My husband. Yes.
I asked her
God.
for a picture of
You
my
wanna act
son,
like you
a
a good
professional
fa-
picture.
What is
she
the
told me
picture
that.
gonna do?
She told me that like this.
Okay.
If you want a picture of your son, you get it from Facebook. I don't know if you're a parent or not.
I am.
As a parent, that would hurt you if you open this picture.
Did you post this picture to be
No,
the
I
picture
did not
you were
post that
trying?
picture. My sister took that picture and Michael put it
Your
on
Honor,
his page.
Alicia
Thank you
Sutton.
very
What does that
much.
say, Your Honor? Alicia
It's on my
Sutton.
page.
So let me ask you
Whatever.
something, Mr. Page. I do want to know if you've made 2 trips out of the country.
Exactly.
Why is it
Then
you
went
haven't
over there
made
and got
one within the
married.
country to see
know
your
what?
son?
You're right, Your Honor. But
Yeah.
guess what? My ex-fiancée, I'm going to
my
battle with this.
God.
My grandmother, everybody passed away. That means a lot to me. So my world at that present moment was upside down. And then I met somebody in Haiti trying to find love.
Married. Didn't tell Yana,
Trying
this
to
the
find
thing.
love.
He told me he was going to jail.
Now let's talk about the 2-year-old little girl that's in question now. Have you ever seen this child?
I never met her, Your Honor, but the reason I never met her is because every time I'm trying to go to the next level, I don't want to get close to her and then to find out she's not mine. It would hurt me twice. So 2 men,
First
you don't
of
know who's your
all,
father.
I
That's a
know
shame.
it's my husband's. Thank you. I feel in my heart it's my husband. At the beginning, I did want to know, but since we was married and I feel my husband say he don't want to, I'm not finna go behind my husband back and get a private test just for you to make you happy.
All right, so first get straight that the test is not about your husband necessarily.
Exactly,
It's really
I'm not
about the
saying it is.
child
Exactly.
understanding and getting to know who their
But
parent
we've
is as
been-
well.
Yana, we've been supposed to
But
find
Ms. Sutton,
out.
I do want to hear from your husband. Jerome, could you please escort Mr. Cooper into the courtroom, please? Mr. Cooper, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
We've been talking about your relationship with Miss Sutton and also her relationship with Mr. Page and how there is a beautiful 2-year-old child that needs to know who their father is. And I want to understand from you why you have either doubts or confirmation in your mind that you are the biological father.
Your Honor, she's mine. You know, plain and simple. You know, the last 2 years, I've taken care of this baby. I've done everything I could. She's mine. I feel it in my heart that she's mine. You know, despite what happened between Alicia and I and her ex-fiance, I accept that. I'm sorry for that. But when Alicia told me she was pregnant, you know, I was excited, you know.
No, you was not excited because when
Yes,
I
he
talked
was
to, when I
excited.
told you, you told me that this child is not yours. Yes or no? Then that's what you say. Yes or no? Answer that question.
Your Honor,
First of all,
this little girl is mine. I was excited when Alicia told me that she was pregnant. I feel in my heart that this baby is mine.
like he said, he been taking
So
care of her for 2
when
years.
you spoke with Mr. Page on the phone, from that time forward, were you guys conversing or was that your only conversation?
That was the only conversation, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Because I don't know him. Like I told him, I don't have no problem with him.
Okay.
Because I wasn't in a relationship with him. I
So
was with her.
this is the first time, the very first time you two have met face to face.
Yes,
Yes.
Your Honor.
But you believe, it's your contention, you just said that he believes that the child is not his.
When I spoke to him, he said this child is not his.
But you disagree with that.
I totally disagree. Those words never came out of my mouth.
Okay.
Okay, so we understand now that you two disagree as to how that conversation came about. Now, moving forward, Ms. Sutton and Mr. Cooper, this entire situation has been wreaking havoc in your marriage. You all have been having some difficulty. Now, Mr. Cooper, you just nodded and said yes, and Ms. Sutton, you just said no. So that is evidence to the court that there is drama in this relationship.
Yes, it is.
We just ruled on that. What's going on?
I mean, we have our ups and downs. Yes, we are still legally married, but we're separated right now, so.
They're going through stuff in front of my son.
Okay.
You don't even care about your son, Pierre.
How you gonna tell me I don't care about my son?
He's 3 and you haven't seen him since he was 9 months.
Okay, I know my faults.
That hurt
I know
him.
my faults.
Okay, how you know your faults?
I know what I have to. I know
How?
what I have to do from this day forward.
Every year you say you're gonna come get him.
But
You
from
either
this day
can't get out
forward.
work, went to Haiti, got married, or with another
Okay,
female.
that was the past.
It's always
That was the
something.
past.
Okay,
This day
this
forward.
is the future. He's 3.
Mr. Page, you have now placed on the record that you know you've made mistakes.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that you need to do better and step up as a man.
I am stepping
But
up.
Now,
let
I've
me
heard
hear
you.
you say that, Your Honor.
I want to see you act
Thank
on
you.
it.
I
He
will, Your
thinks
Honor.
sending money
So,
and taking care of his
back
son.
to, very briefly, your marriage. I just want to hear from Mr. Cooper. How has this affected the marriage?
We've had our problems, but despite all of that, I love these kids.
So, Mr. Cooper, what are you hoping for today? What do you want?
I'm hoping that she's mine. I'm hoping she's mine, and I'm hoping that this is going to restore my family and my marriage.
And how about you, Ms. Sutton?
I don't know about the marriage part, but I'm working on it. I just want this resolved, like to find out who. I just want it resolved.
So you're not sure whether you want to even be in a relationship with Mr. Cooper
I'm
anymore?
happy right now what I'm doing, taking care of my, because I always feel like I have to be with somebody. Now I'm stronger. I'm taking care of my kids on my own. I'm doing better
You
as
don't
a
care
woman,
about
and I
the
feel like
kids.
I
You
feel.
care about the money. That's all it is.
Oh,
Just
my
admit to
God.
it. That's all
Really?
you care about, the money.
Mr. Page,
Really?
you are paying child support for your son.
Just
$150 a
started,
week,
yes.
Your Honor.
Okay. I think it's time for us all to learn the results. Jerome, if you could please hand me the envelope.
There you go, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Page. These results, as prepared by DNA Diagnostics, are as follows. In the case of Page v. Sutton, when it comes to 2-year-old Jalecia, Mr. Page, you are her father. No emotion. What are you feeling?
I always want a precious daughter. That's my first daughter in the family. And I'm going to love her and raise her.
Mr. Cooper, I see you feeling very emotional. I know this wasn't the news you wanted.
She's still mine.
Over my dead body. That's my daughter.
Now,
That you would never see.
listen.
He just
He's not going to see them because you don't believe he will show? Or
Yes.
he's not going to see them because you won't allow
No,
him?
I allow. I'm not gonna keep
Good.
no child from their father. I'm not gonna
Good.
do that.
Good.
Never.
But what I've heard him say today is that he plans to be a father to his son and to his daughter, and you gotta allow him that opportunity. And you need to live up to it. And Mr. Cooper, I know you have been a father to this young girl. Let's be very honest. And I know how much you wanted to be her biological father. Sometimes I don't know if these are sad moments for the court when I see a father who stands before me and you've never seen your child. And then sometimes I feel like that is exactly why paternity court needs to exist. And that's the magical, wonderful part of this, is because today, if you are willing, you can see your beautiful baby girl, Jalecia, in my chambers today.
Yes, I will, Your Honor.
I think it would be wonderful.